What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric, and today on the channel we are checking out this insane guitar. This is the Wylde Audio Berserker, and this is probably the most insane guitar that I have ever owned, ever played, ever looked at, and yeah, in my opinion, as of now, this thing out BC Riches any BC Rich that's ever been made. But before we dive into today's video, we need to hear this guitar in a full demo mix. And that was the Wylde Audio Berserker in a full demo mix. The guitar went straight into my interface and I used my custom Zakk Wylde digital tone preset. And if you want to learn more about that, there's going to be another video link that you can watch after this where you can get that tone for yourself. So if you're unfamiliar with Wylde Audio guitars, this is Zakk Wylde's brand of guitars. The company was started in 2014 and made its official debut at NAMM 2015. And basically these guitars are the brainchild of Zakk Wylde, and they are distributed through Schecter. And these guitars are made in the same South Korean factory that Schecter makes all of their very high-end import guitars. If you know Zakk Wylde and you followed him for a very long time, you would know that he is very synonymous with the Les Paul. And while these guitars can be similar to some of the guitars that Zakk Wylde used to play in terms of specs and hardware and what the guitars are actually made of, the aesthetics of these guitars are absolutely night and day compared to those traditional guitars that Zakk used to play. I mean, case in point here, this is probably the most BC Rich guitar that BC Rich never made. A lot of these guitars have like this Norse naming system to it. This is the Berserker. They got stuff called the Odin, the Warhammer, the Thorax, and stuff like that. And all of those are so on brand for Zakk Wylde's current aesthetic, which is, you know, our Viking warlord as we see him as. But despite all the crazy shapes and the naming schemes, these guitars are very well built. Again, they're built in Schecter's South Korea factory. All of the quality control goes through Schecter before these guitars hit stores. And straight up, these guitars are very good for the price that they're offered at. So now let's get to some specs and features on the Wylde Audio Berserker here. Now, all Wylde Audio guitars pretty well have the exact same specs outside of a couple aesthetic choices, which we'll talk about. Now, this is the Berserker body. Again, this is absolutely insane. And for how insane it looks, it's honestly pretty comfy to play when you're sitting down and when you're standing up. This guitar feels really great sitting down in like a straight up like position like this, or in the classical position, which is how I usually play. This guitar also comes in two different finish options. We got the blood skull finish right here. We also have kind of like this trapezoidal, like MC Escher kind of style, like vertigo print that is very synonymous with some Zakk Wylde guitars. Take your pick on skulls. This actually looks pretty sick in person. This guitar straight up looks like a guitar that might be just out of like Guitar Hero or something like that, just from the graphics and the design, but it's pretty sick. We got these speed knobs up here, 2 volumes, 1 tone. Tone Pro's locking bridge. This is a really great bridge. Feels really good, sounds really good. 3-way toggle selector up here, EMG 8185, the tried and true Zakk Wylde pickup combo that he's been using basically since the dawn of time. Flipping the guitar over on the back, we have no vinyl graphics on the back. We have the electronics cover right here, the batteries inside here, toggle switch cover right here. No strap locks or anything like that. It'd be nice if the guitar came with some, but you know, easy enough to throw on yourself. Output jack right on the side here. Moving up to the neck, we have a 3-piece maple neck. This is the Zakk C spec shape. Kind of feels like a 50s Les Paul neck, maybe a little bit thicker than a 60s neck. Feels really comfy. It's not like an Ibanez or a Jackson thin style neck or anything like that. So if you're buying this guitar thinking it's gonna have like the shreddy neck, it's, you know, very different than that. We have some fingerboard binding on the guitar, both sides, side dots, no lumen lays. Again, that would be kind of nice if they had some lumen lays on the side here. We have an ebony fingerboard, 22 nickel frets on a 24.625-inch scale. If you're used to a Gibson scale length, this is going to be kind of right at home, maybe a little bit easier to play since it is a little shorter. Ebony fingerboard, we get these Berserker inlays, again from the anime. We then have a reversed Wylde Audio 6-in-line headstock with Grover non-locking tuners. Graphtec tusk nut up here, then I have a little bit of foam up here just to get rid of that sympathetic vibration for when I'm recording. And that's going to do it for all the specs and features on the Wylde Audio Berserker guitar here. Again, this thing is absolutely insane. Let's plug it in and let's hear this guitar with some isolated guitar tones. Now, I remember when I first saw the Wylde Audio Berserker get released, and I really didn't know what to think of it. Part of me said, I love it. Part of me says, this is the most insane thing I've ever seen. And part of me was also saying, like, is this thing actually comfy? And I know it's going to play good because I've played a bunch of Wylde Audio guitars in the past. The neck is right up my alley. It feels great. EMG pickups sound great as well. But, you know, with a shape like this, is it actually going to be good? And honestly, like, this shape feels so comfy, to be 100% honest. I usually play in the classical position, and these bottom horns down here really lend themselves to actually propping the guitar up and not really needing a footrest to kind of play in that classical position. Feels really great. Upper fret axis is also very great as well. Even when I'm playing up here on the higher frets, like, this upper horn just doesn't get in my way. And again, this is a very outlandish shape. And it's not like this guitar is trying to do like the take on like a Les Paul or an SG or something like that. Like, this is literally just a one-of design. And you know, like, I feel like they kind of nailed it for how insane this guitar is. Guitar feels great when you play it sideways like this. The guitar also doesn't have any neck dive for how insane the guitar looks with this back horn here and the reverse headstock. Like, feels really great. You can't really stand the guitar up on its own. It does like to lean a lot, so I wouldn't recommend like putting it up like against a wall or a desk or something like that if you're just like taking a break from playing. They probably will fall over, but otherwise in terms of like quality control, fit and finish, like it feels really good. It's a really high-end Schecter at the end of the day, but it's dressed up as a Norse battle axe, you know, that is designed for Zakk Wylde. The nut actually popped off when I was working on this guitar, so I had to glue it down, and you know, like that's literally it. That's a very, very easy fix. Everything works as it should. Would be nice to have some locking tuners on the guitar and maybe some strap locks, but at the end of the day, I think those are some easy mods that I can do myself. And every time I would plug this guitar in, it just sounds so huge. And honestly, this is just like a dream to track with. It feels so good, and it sounds so good as well. Like, I don't know, somehow with an insane guitar like this guitar is maybe one of my better sounding studio and live guitars that's currently in my collection. And yeah, I haven't been able to put it down much. I've really been playing this guitar like for the past like couple weeks since I've owned this thing, and it's great. And one final sweet thing about all of these Wylde audio guitars is that Zakk Wylde literally plays these exact same guitars live with Pantera, Black Label, and all of the other Zakk Wylde musical endeavors. And like, this guitar is literally with him on the Pantera tour right now. And if this guitar is good enough for a professional level musician to go play stadiums with Metallica or go play around the world in, I think it's going to be good for the average player who's maybe at home or in the local cover band or just in a local band. Like, these things are super solid, and if you can get past the shapes and maybe the naming scheme, if that's not your thing, go out and try these things, and I think you're going to be very impressed with how great these Wylde audio guitars are. And that's going to do it for today's video, checking out the Wylde Audio Blood Skull Berserker guitar. All thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think on these absolutely insane guitars. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, please consider subscribing. Tons more videos like this, checking out guitars, doing the whole Zakk Wylde, Dimebag, Pantera deep dive, and as well as other guitar-related topics. And if you are a returning subscriber, make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss a single video that I upload. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.